Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave. Probably be a short one today. I don't have too much. I do have a short video for you. As the title says, I'm back to working on the Bobcat. I didn't touch the sound system since yesterday, so hopefully everything's still the same. I think right at the very end of the vlog yesterday, Dottie said, don't turn the computer off, leave it all the same, Well, that sort of works. I do always leave the computer on. I'm a power user, And the problem is, being a power user, you're always rebooting and restarting and, installing new software, different things. So you can't leave it the same. You have to rely on the software to stay the same, and it's not staying the same. That's the problem. So anyway, it just is what it is, and I haven't done any more to the sound, so hopefully I'm coming out okay out there today. I sure hope so anyway. Let me scroll to the bottom here of the comments to see if anything is negative is popping up. I took the tracks. Before I get into the Bobcat situation, another darn issue that's been going on for a month or two. It's been going on for several months, actually, and it's just gotten exponentially worse, and that is my website. The fraudsters have taken over, and they are buying products off of my shopping page and then getting refunds from PayPal, and somehow they're making money off of that. I don't know what they're doing, but PayPal charges me the fees for investigating the fraud or investigating the problems, and I get stuck with the fees. So I'm getting charged lots of money every month for them refunding these fraudulent charges. And it's like, I don't have anything to do with it. Why do I have to pay for it? You'd think you could figure it out through your darn system, I don't know. But anyway, I just took the whole shopping page off my website because of it. It's just not worth it. I make a little money off that shopping page, but not enough to put up with the hassles. It just doesn't quit. No matter what you do, there's a scumbag out there every second just waiting to get into your pocket, which is kind of a continuation of the story about the Bobcat. So I took the track back off the Bobcat this morning. I'm getting pretty good at taking the tracks on and off, actually, especially with the help of my little mini skid steer and my mini excavator. Anyway, and Sue had to help me too, of course. I got the track off. I opened up that side panel. I reached in and found that wire that's loose. I knew the wire was loose in there, but I couldn't find a place to plug it in. And I just thought, well, maybe it just was one of those extra wires that they leave in there, in case they ever need it for something, That's just was my logic, and I put it all back together. Well, of course, then my Bobtac wouldn't work. So I'm suspecting this has something to do with that quick attach for the hooking up the buckets and all that stuff, the electronics on that. So I thought, well, once I got the track off, got that opened up, I pulled the wire back out, I took a picture of it, and I called Bobcat, and I said, if I send you this picture, could you guys tell me where this plugs in? Because I can't find a plug-in anywhere. Oh, no, we can't do that. You'll have to bring it in. Which is code for, we don't have customer service here. All we do is charge you out the rear end for anything that they won't even try to help you. Now, granted, I get it. They're not Grok. They're not there in business to answer every question that comes their way. But on the other hand, a simple thing like, where does this plug in? That's not too complicated. And almost any mechanic could look at that and go, oh, that just goes back into your such and so. And that's way back there in the back or whatever. They could do it. And all I know is they just keep pushing me further away. Anytime I call them and you try to you ask a question or anything, it's always just money. Yeah, you give me money and I'll tell you, give me money. And so I'll figure it out myself. So then I took that picture that I took and I was going to send to them. Instead of sending it to them, I sent it to Grok. And I said, you got any ideas where this plugs in? And Grok says, well, it could be your fuel sensing unit, and it may go. So then I answered Grok back, and I said, well, it's not the fuel sending thing, because the fuel sending thing is all working correctly. I said, what's not working correctly is my Bobcat, the quick attachment point up in the front. I said, these wires come off of the main wiring harness in the front there, off of the front left. And I said, it comes back, it wires off of that, and then it's just dangling there, and I don't know where to plug it in. And that's basically how I tell Grok what the problem is, just like I told you. And Grok comes back and says, oh, yep, that definitely could be your Bobcat. And he says, and Grok says this. It says, lift your cab up again, and be sure to take plenty of light and mirrors with you, because you can't see this. He says, way back in there. I'm going, well, boy, I already know that, because I've been looking forever, and I can't find the connection point on that. So here's a short little tiny video about that. Well, as you can see, I have the track back off of this side of the Bobcat. And yes, I have found the wire that's loose, that I don't know where it goes. And no, it's not easy to get to. Look how hard it is. I mean, it's hard to explain, but it looks bigger on camera than it is. But getting over and down inside here, and then you got to see up in there. And of course, the camera can do that, but I can't do that. And so here's the wire. You can see here, it is a plug, and it must plug in somewhere. And like I said, I've studied the schematic, and it's like looking at a bowl of spaghetti. I mean, it really is. Yeah, I can kind of trace the wires, but even if I trace them, I don't know what their symbols mean when it, even it doesn't look like it does here in real life. So I still don't know where to take it, But anyway, that's my saga for this morning. I'm going to see if I can't figure out some way to figure out where that thing plugs in. And I have a feeling that's my problem with my quick attach thing up here on the front, but I don't even know that for sure. This could just be a total futile effort, and maybe that doesn't even plug in anywhere. Sometimes they do that. They leave extra plugs on these things. But either way, I got to figure out something. I had to make a trip up to the house and get a large mirror. Some of you would say, why don't you use your, endoscope thing, or snake scope, or whatever you want to call it. Those are good, but they're good only if you know what you're looking for. When you're in a place where you're searching a whole big area, scanning a whole big area, this is by far better. Look at this. I can see the whole area up there, and I know which way it's pointed also, which is a big thing. Where those little snakes, you can't tell which direction they're pointed at any time. If I'd have had this the first time, this probably, I wouldn't have been taking this off again, because I'd have probably found it. Hopefully there's a place. I see it. I don't see any place offhand. It's almost got to be back this direction. And I don't know where exactly, but I'm going to go put the camera down and start giving it some serious looking with the light in the mirror. I had 2 birthdays while she was finding this, so obviously she doesn't use it. I spent at least 10 minutes in there searching every nook and cranny I could see, and I see no place that could plug in. So I've raised the cab again, and like for the 4th or 5th time. And I'm going to go back on top of here with that mirror, and maybe I'll find it in here. So wish me luck. That's all I can say. Well, it was after I did that video there, that's when I called Bobcat, and that's when I asked Grok after that. And I've already told you those stories, but it's, I still haven't found it. I got it, I threw the cab back up, and I went up in there and searched and searched with the lights and the mirrors, and I cannot find a place to plug that in for nothing. I mean, like, you wouldn't think it'd be that hard. And that's a fairly long wire. It reaches back in there pretty far. So, I don't know. So this afternoon, I was planning to just work on that some more and keep looking and seeing if I can find a place, because there's got to be a place. And but it turns out now I'm going to probably have to run to town and deliver a package for Cometa Systems, and then come back and work on the Bobcat, and I'm going to get the track, no matter if I don't find the connection or not, I'm going to get the track back on the Bobcat and get it in the shop, because tomorrow it's when the bad weather's supposed to really hit. I thought it was today, but Sue said no, it's tomorrow. So that's why I went ahead and took the track off today and thought I'd try to make the best of the good weather. But I don't mind working on anything if you even have that much of a chance of fixing it. But when you can't even see a problem, just like the oil leak. The oil leak's the same way. I still haven't found the oil leak. After all the searching and looking I've done, I have no idea where that's coming from. Oh, it just is a pain. It is a pain. But everything else is good news, especially the sound system. David Tharp says, howdy y'all. Wayne Blitz says, good afternoon, Jerry. Hope all is well. Keep it safe. Joe Cool, here's to a wonderful afternoon ahead. I hope so. It would be awesome if I could just get in there and find the darn plug-in and go, okay, now it's working. Yeah, that fixed it. I would love that. Let's see, Brian Byler's there. Ronald Todd from the West Banks of New Jersey. Bill Rhodes, good afternoon. And Bill Rhodes says, did you understand my saying yesterday about the diagram where you read the diagram, you have to follow one line? Well, at the risk of sounding smart alecky or anything, I don't know how else you could do it. I think that's kind of stating the obvious, I think. It looks like a bowl of spaghetti. There's just wires going everywhere. But I have followed them. But the problem is it goes across 3 pages. And I'm not kidding you. You go from this page to a connection on another page to a connection on another page. And, and then after I did that, it didn't do me any good, because it's all white paper with lines, and that doesn't match reality at all. So it doesn't even matter, I don't know. It's just not easy being me. That's all I can tell you. He says, it's as simple as that. Yeah, well, it's as simple as that on paper. That's the problem. It's not that simple out in real life. Timothy Werblow, good afternoon, my friends. Gino Hitch. And for the record, I could follow the schematic all the way through. It was complicated as heck, but I could follow it. But it still didn't do me any good. Gino Hitch on the Bobcat. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't read his thing. He says, hi, Jerry and friends. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Hope you're able to find that leak in the end of your leak at the end of your broadcast yesterday. The picture and sound was perfect on my end. Okay. Well, that's good to hear. And then, let's see, Wavy Gravy says, after a fight in the car, my neighbor's wife gave him the silent treatment, passing a herd of cows. She said, look, a bunch of your relatives. And he said, it's always nice to see my in-laws. Let's see. David Tharp says, if you get fat, you eat too much. If you lose weight, you're sick. If you dress well, you show off. If you dress simply, you're poor. No matter what you do, someone criticizes, so be yourself. Yeah. But it's just not easy to be myself. That's the problem. Kim Z from Arizona. And then let's see, Wavy Gravy. My neighbor told me that he hasn't spoken to his wife for over 6 months now. When I asked him why, he said because he didn't want to interrupt her. Let's see, Bill Webb. I'm not going to comment on that one there, Wavy Gravy. That's your neck sticking out there. And then Bill Webb, and then David Tharp says, Part 1, a man walked into a candy store with an alligator under one arm and a chicken under the other. The clerk stared at him, then asked, "Can I help you?" Okay. Part 2, the alligator said, "Give me a Snickers bar." The astonished clerk said, "Would you look at that? I didn't know alligators could talk." Part 3, the man said, "Everybody knows alligators can't talk. The chicken is a ventriloquist." Okay. Hey, man, that scrolled a long way that time. Now I got to find myself place again. There's C. Wills checks there. Afternoon, Rosa fans. Wavy Gravy. Recently, scientists noted that some cows use tools, but what they didn't mention was that they also stand on the hind legs and talk until they see a car coming. Then they get down on all fours. Let's see. Don, nice. Okay, then Ronald Todd, and then let's see. C. Welschek says, "Hey, Jerry, do you still have that Samsung refrigerator, or did you replace it? Mine is on its last leg." Well, as I probably have said before, our refrigerator part of that thing works excellent, and the lower freezer part works excellent also. It's just the ice makers on this one that are pain in the neck. The ice maker down below in the freezer part still works fine, but the one up there where you would normally use your cup and get ice, that never has worked well, I mean, I can fix it and make it work for a day or two, and then it quits again. I've just quit working on it. It's just not worth it. So we just get the ice out of the bottom. Thank goodness it has 2 different ice makers on it. But the rest of it seems to be fine. At least it is for now. Eric Sandell, I think the saddest thing about the refrigerator thing is I don't even know if you can buy a good one anymore. I'm going to be very, very picky if I buy another one. I can tell you that. Eric says the sound is okay here. Well, that's good. LD Stutz says, "Make sure to get some wood ready for the heat. Looks like cold and snow." Yep, it's definitely coming, I think. Sue actually yesterday took JR's Bobcat and picked up the rest of that wood that was around that tree. She just scooped it up, and dumped it next to the wood furnace. So, 95% of it's all picked up and up there by the furnace. So there's quite a bit there. I'll still have to hand split most of it, but that's okay. David Tharp, Bill Momo says, "Hi, you folks." And then David Tharp says, "When the designers made the first ballet skirt, they couldn't figure out what to call it, but they finally put 2 and 2 together." I don't know where you come up with all these. Eric Sandell says, "The video you showed a loose red wire up there and looks like the counter plug hat you showed. At least it looked so for me. The wire had a gray plug at the end." Yeah, it's not in any of those loose wires that you saw up above. It's definitely not there. In fact, there is 1 or 2 of those that they look like they would have something plug into them, but they've got a cap on them. They're not, and they're the same kind of plug. You can't plug them together. So there's nothing right there. Trust me, I've looked. There ain't nothing there that you're going to see that can be plugged into. I put my hands on every connector in there and tried every single thing you could imagine. like I said, guys, the one thing you can take to the bank with me is if it was easy, I've already fixed it. That you can take that to the bank. Wavy gravy. I'm worried about my neighbor. He said to me, you know that show, The Flintstones with Fred and Wilma? I've seen it, I said, and he said, do you know if they're married in real life too? No, I've never thought about that. It's a good thing too. M. Press John says, it's crying shame for a manufacturer to build something that can't be serviced. So, sorry, Jerry, good luck. Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of get it. I kind of do get it. But on the other hand, I don't know. You'd think you could just, you can't get to nothing. Well, it's the way it is on everything these days. I mean, I don't care what you buy now. If it's got a motor in it, you can't work on it anymore. They don't want you working on it. They want the money. That is black and white 100% why they make it like they make it. Because most people won't take the time to do it. They'll just take it to the place, and then they get to collect the big bucks. And like this thing right now, you know, you can just say you're just an old cynical crab. You know, you can just say that about me if you want. But I look at it like realistic. And realistically, what they'll do is they'll go to their book and they'll go, well, this is a 3-hour job. They'll charge you 3 hours labor at $130 or $40 an hour to plug that plug in. And they'll know exactly where it plugs in. It's just not right. And I'm not going to pay for it. I don't care if it takes me a year to figure it out. I'm not taking it to this place to figure that out. And just call me stubborn, call me bullheaded, call whatever you want. But I'm not taking it there to give them the satisfaction of charging me $300 or $400 plus the hassle of hauling it there and hauling it back for them to plug the darn thing in. Let's see. David Sutter, are you having the play along tonight? If so, or if you are, please play Blue Moon of Kentucky. Well, I'll write it down. I'll tell you what I'm going to do tonight. I already thought about this. If I'm doing it, and I'm planning on doing it, but it depends on how everything goes here. If things go south, and if you don't see the notice out there an hour ahead of time, so in other words, by 6 o'clock, I'll have the notice out there, or 6:15 at the latest. So if you don't see something out there by 6:15, I'm not doing it. It's just because I don't know how all this is going to go. I got to go to town first, and then I got to work on that Bobcat. I've got to get that thing back in the shop before the freezing cold weather hits, because that way at least I can be in there looking for that dang wire, you know. Anyway, so I'll write that down, Blue Moon of Kentucky. So I'm planning on it, but I might have to cancel. I kind of think I'll be able to get it all done in time, but we'll see. Shiny Cage says, Jerry, is there a Bobcat user group out there on Facebook or whatever? Yeah, that's a possibility, I guess. I haven't checked on any of that. I really never get on Facebook, so I never think about anything like that. But I'll keep that in mind for down the road here if I can't figure it out. Grok did kind of give me a hint. Grok's pretty sure that like I said, it said to get a mirror and some lights because it's notoriously hard to see where this plugs in. Assuming it is the plug-in that goes to that, Bobtac thing. So anyway, I've got an idea where to be looking now because it kind of told me that it's back there and it's those solenoid. It plugs into one of those solenoids, but you can't see them. So I don't know. I still don't know if I can do it. What I'm thinking I'm going to do is take a piece of plywood, lay it in there on, like you raise the seat and all that up, so the cab's up in the air. And then I'm going to take a piece of plywood and lay it over all the top of all that junk, because you can't get back there. And then I can lay on my stomach on the plywood and get all the way to the very back and look back in there, because you can't get back in there. Not at my age. Now, if I was 16, I could get back there, but I can't do it now. Let's see. Shoot, I've lost my place. Yeah, let's see. Okay, Paul Akers says, put a new top on a guitar, cracked after a couple of months. Not easy being me either. Ugh. Yeah, that ain't good. Bruce Ducker, during my electronic education, I used to color code electrical diagrams with highlighters and colored pencils, helped in tracing the wire or circuit board. Well, like I said, under different circumstances, that might help to trace that. But under these circumstances, it doesn't really matter. You know, I have to find a place to plug this thing in. I kind of know where it goes. I mean, in the big scheme of life, I know where it goes. I mean, it goes in that Bobcat, number one. And number two, it goes back in there in the back somewhere. And, you know, I just have to find that place. So the schematic don't really help you in a case like this. Gino Hitch, if you could get a printout of the wiring, well, I've got that already. Like I said, I've already traced all that down. Michael 2X, I'd be cutting an access door in that Bobcat. The Rosameister will get it fixed. He never gives up. The sound and video is awesome here in Evans, Georgia. Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, and there's people still sending me stuff on trying to make this other system work, and I haven't had time to look at it yet, but I'm not real hopeful yet. Mostly because, again, like I said, and again, I don't mean to keep beating a dead horse, but I can't imagine going to all the trouble that they've gone to write the software for routing all these, you know, virtual connections. That's what they are. They're just software virtual connections. They're not hardware. You're not plugging things in and unplugging things. It's all plugged in on the computer screen. That's where you're doing your plugging in. And I can't imagine going to all the trouble of writing that and making it, you know, as complicated as that is, and not fixing it where you can save it. That one program, the first one I was using, you can't save it at all. It doesn't even have the option to save it. The second one has the option, but it doesn't work. Doesn't do it. It's just pitiful. It's pitiful. I just can't believe they would do that. I mean, they're smart enough to do all of that other and then yet not do that. That doesn't even make sense. I just got me, man. It'd be like, you know, building your house and doing all that work, finishing it off and everything, but never putting any shingles on it or, you know, any roofing material on top. That's about the same difference. It's like, that didn't do you any good to do all the rest of that. You know, if you don't have a roof over it, it ain't going to work. And it's the same way with this. If you don't have a way to save it, all that work you did, plus all the work I do trying to route my stuff, is of no benefit at all. It just makes no sense. I can't figure stuff like that out. It just makes no sense at all. Gary Hayden, Jerry, with all the weather coming, you are going to tarp your Bobcat and wait till spring. No, I'm going to put it in the shop. Let's see. Cup of Cool, hide glue, two-way truss rods, emergency rooms, and Bobcat blues played in the key of canal water. Well, that's for sure. Rod Willer says, thumbs up. If you would, please, that would help. Even that will help a little. I mean, it just seems like everything just keeps going further into the toilet here. I mean, like I said, I had to get rid of my shopping page off my website today, and it looks to me like there's already some more charges just came through. I saw some things pop up on the screen. It's like, are you kidding me? It's like you can't even win. Doesn't matter what you do. Somebody's out to get you. David Thorpe, eyelashes are supposed to prevent things from getting into your eyes, but whenever I have something in my eye, it's always an eyelash. That's ironic. Bill Mumbo, Jerry, you're a sour old crab, and I agree with you. Yeah. Wavy Gravy, under the category of really bad ideas, the electric shower cap and Sing I Kangaroos tie for first place. Yeah, that might be a good first place. Let's see. David Thorpe says, Wavy Gravy, what about the gasoline-powered dog polisher? David Sutter, I tend to lean toward the extra wire used for some other system on a Bobcat. You see a lot of that. Well, that is true. I mean, there are lots of, like even up on that upper panel where the switch for that Bobtac is, there's loose connectors up there for other purposes. But this one seems too long and too intentional to not go to something. Plus, when I pulled it out, all that grease, you remember I was cleaning all that grease and everything out of there. I'm sure I probably unplugged it by just reaching in and pulling all that grease and junk out. It probably got in that, and I'm probably the one that unplugged it. But it was coated in grease and everything. Well, it still looked like it might have been plugged in before. Usually on something like that, if it's not been plugged in, you can kind of tell by looking at the end of it that it's never been plugged in. Like it's got real old caked on dirt or something. Well, part of it had grease on it and part of it looked pretty clean. So I thought, well, it was probably plugged in because it was kind of clean, So that's why I'm thinking it has to go somewhere, and I'm pretty sure it's got something to do with this Bobtac thing. When right after I fixed the darn switch, got a brand new switch on it, it just doesn't quit. It just doesn't. It's like there's just something planned. It's just planned to happen. David Thurston, Wave Gravy, what about, let's see. Reading down here, Bruce Moore says, Jerry, my son and I just replaced the heater core in a Buick LeSabre. It was very difficult, but the garage wanted $800. Yeah, and that's what they tell you on the front end. But by the time you get the bill that you actually pay, it's probably that $800 would easily creep over $1,000, because they always find 14 other things that they have to add on. Seriously, as soon as the guy says today, when I call Bobcat, no, we can't. I didn't even get it out of my mouth hardly. He goes, oh, no, we couldn't tell you where the wire goes. No. I said, well, even if I send you a picture, I said, surely one of your mechanics would know where it plugs in. No, we can't do this. You have to bring it in. You just have to bring it in. I said, thank you. Goodbye. I just did it exactly like that. It was his words were code for, we're going to stick it to you. You bring it in here, and we're going to charge you big bucks, and we'll plug that in. Not to mention the hassle of loading the thing up and taking it in and then going to get it and bring it back. No, not doing it. Wavy Gravy, right, David. And I forgot the wrinkle-removing waffle iron. Well, guys, thanks for being here. I will probably see you this evening with a play-along at 7 o'clock. But like I said, if you don't see a notice out there about the play-along by 6:15, I'm not doing it. So hopefully I'll have one out there. Take care. We will see you tomorrow if I don't see you this evening.